Hi, Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. Let's talk about what is bowling lane oil carry down. It's a term we all hear at the bowling center. Specifically, what does it refer to, and what do we need to do as bowlers to counter this phenomenon that occurs during the sessions on the lanes? First of all these bowling balls today have a pretty high-tech cover stocks, don't they? And you can buy bowling balls that are a solid variety, that are pliable covers to fight heavy oil on the lane. And since all the heavy oil is placed on the front part of the lane, the majority of the volume of it in the center portion, particularly of the front part of the lane, the first 20 feet, that's where the most of the volume of oil is, and your ball's going to pass through that, sliding down the lane before it picks up a strong roll and transitions in motion to try to hit to the pocket. So your bowling ball is going to pick up oil. You see it when it comes back to the ball return, all the oil rings on it, and you can even see the track flare on it as the axis migrates while the ball's rolling down the lane. So you see these flare patterns as indicated by the lane oil. Well, you try to wipe it off or use cleaners to clean it off and so on, but it's retained in the surface of the ball, and the ball carries that oil down the lane as it travels through it. So as the ball picks up oil from the beginning of the lane, it'll streak it past the final distance the oil's applied on the lane surface, and usually that's about 40 feet, could be up to 42, 39. It varies with the particular lane oil pattern that the lane maintenance people select for a given bowling center. So those strips will go 5 to 7 feet beyond that oil. If you were to actually stand on the back end of the lane and look down at the lane surface, you would see strips of oil. Now, if you took a pearl cover stock, which is a stiffer cover stock by nature and less porous, then that's not going to retain as much oil, and the strips might not be quite as long, and they might be thinner or not quite as wide. And so you'll see a variety of streaks down the lane, and because no one throws the ball perfectly over the same mark every time, and when you get several players on the lane, like in league play or on a pair of lanes, you're going to see that oil strips all over the lane. So as you go along and bowl for your first half game, your first game, your game and a half, and all the way through your session in league play, for example, using a 3-game example for explanation purposes, then you're going to see a lot of carry down, and it changes the lane. And as the lane changes, because the oil removed from the front to the back end, there's less oil in the front part of the lane. So your ball motion will change, and you're going to need an adjustment. Now, you should check with your coaches if you don't know the type of adjustments to use or you get confused. One system that's very common is parallel adjustments, where you move your feet 2 boards for every one you adjust your target in the same direction. That works well when there's a lot of oil in the center of the lane on most house conditions, for example. Sometimes on tournament conditions, other type of adjustments work a little bit better. But the bottom line is you will have to change your angle down the lane to the break point as the carry down occurs. What's interesting, though, is the back end gets a little tighter, as they say, hooks a little less because the oil streaks down and creates a little buildup of oil on the dry part of the back lane, while the front end begins to break down a little bit. So there is an art to making adjustments and changing and using the oil as your ally to help you get to the pocket consistently. So anyway, that's what happens when lanes change due to bowling lane oil carry down. And the lower the grit texture of the surface of the ball, and the higher the porosity of a given cover stock, the more oil is going to be absorbed and pulled down the lane. So you'll see a wider footprint of oil down there on those solid reactive cover stock balls as opposed to pearl cover stock balls, plastic balls, and so on, regular urethane. So anyway, those are some of the phenomenon that changes. We suggest you get with your own bowling coach or your own personal certified bowling instructor if you have questions about how to make adjustments. Talk to some of the better players or even your own teammates that are having success on given lane conditions as that oil changes from the time you first bowl on league, when that oil is freshly applied by the lane machine, to as you progress through your session on the lanes. I hope some of this information helps you. Please read the article in Bowlversity for a little bit more information. We thank you for visiting.